We humans love to measure shit. Throughout history, measuring things has made them really easy to compare and assign value to. And we fucking love assigning value to things too. Physical properties like size and weight and the quantity of things can be super easily measured. And a lot of science time goes towards inventing better measuring tools and more accurate ways of using them. Measuring seems really objective and without bias. It lets us make assessments and comparisons between shit. And using standardized units and scales helps us create frameworks for evaluating. It lets us track development and helps us see if we're getting closer or further away from outcomes so we can identify areas for improvement and monitor people's progress. It also gives us a massive sense of control, even if we don't actually have any. Because when we can quantify and analyse measurements, we assume that it's giving us insights and helping us identify patterns and make predictions, all of which contribute to some sort of perception of mastery over whatever the fuck it is we're measuring. And that's cool, except for two things. The first thing being that measuring is never actually without bias, because someone always has to decide which end of the scale is the good end and which is the bad end. And the second thing is, we started to believe that it was only the things that we can measure that had any value or any importance at all. And when it comes to things like health, that's not always a useful attitude. Yes, there's a ton of super useful and vital health measurements that we totally should do. But because of how we assign value, we often forget that the things we can't measure are equally valuable to a person's health too. There are so many intangible and immeasurable bits of health, like stress and happiness and how much beauty we get to see and how much morality and fairness we experience, how good our relationships are. But instead of just admitting that there are bits of health that we won't be able to control and master by measuring, it was just easier to downplay them as health factors and pretend like cold, logical numbers were the most important things instead. Sucks, really. Especially as I'm really short, and the doctors always seemed way more interested in my height when I was a kid than how happy and how loved I was. Which luckily for me happened to be a lot, by the way. But they didn't know that, because they just weren't looking for ways to track it.